Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Making 3, and today I'm going to be giving you part 8 of What If Naruto Universe Had Quirks. Remember to give this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends on your social media platform, and also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the other series. I post a brand new episode of What If Godlike Naruto was born in a superhuman universe, so go ahead, check out that and enjoy. I also post a brand new episode of What If Naruto was neglected by Kakashi and awakened a Kiki Genkai. I also post a new movie of What If Naruto found Aizen's sword. So go ahead, check out that over Anime Prince. Yes, I have 4 channels which I post What If on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and shatter that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support, and yeah, without further ado, with this we jump right into this new episode. Begin now guys. So the last spot we left off, the sports festival was happening at Land of Iron. As everyone was there, all of the teams from all over had came and they gathered. Mikasa, the daughter of Nagato and Konan, was also there as well with her team members. As they were participating, she looked over at the gigantic place, remembering what her mother and father told her not to do. However, her father also gave her a secret mission to look for an individual from Konoha. As she was moving, her eyes met with a single person, but the glance was so quick that she barely recognized who the person was. It was none other than Naruto as he walked. As Naruto took in his sight, the cloth that he was wearing, he did not need it because since he took that ice quirk, he no longer feared the cold, as it felt normal to him. As the Jonin senseis led them towards the area, they were given a couple of hours to prepare themselves for the events, as they would be talking to the head person of the whole thing. He would be speaking to them and telling them what to do. As Naruto decided to dislodge away from the group, upon moving away, he was followed by none other than Hinata Hyuga. Hinata was from the Hyuga clan. They were known for being stuck-up arrogant pricks. However, Hinata was one of the worst. The thing was, Hinata, she hated the way her clan acted, and that is why she lashed out in ways of acting differently from them. However, in secret, to everyone, she was a nice, calm, pretty girl that always followed the rules, but in secret, she was a total stuck-up bitch. Not to mention, she's been playing with Kiba's head, making him think that they were something or they were going to be something, so he was defensive of her and protective as well. As she was now seeing Naruto as a target, she loved to have fun with people, messing with them, as the Hyuga clan traditions were boring, as she loved to draw out people's mischief side, and she saw Naruto, and he was a bad boy. That is why she went to mess with him, as Naruto warned her that he would kill her, as she merely chuckled. She was the daughter of the clan head of Hyuga, one of the most powerful clans in Konoha. She doubted that he would do something like that, as she smiled at him. He might be bold and dangerous, but he wouldn't do something that stupid, and she was gonna have her fun here with him. As Naruto walked off, thinking of all the ways that he could end their miserable life, he came across a girl that he bumped into from the rain. Their eyes met as Naruto was rather cold. Mikasa was rather cold back to him as she called him a jackass, not knowing what his problem was, as she walked off. As they never turned and met each other's eyes once again. However, she now was pissed off at that Konoha ninja, but Naruto did not care in the slightest as he made his way. As Naruto was by himself, he thought about the future. He needed to find out what truly happened. He needed to find out if Minato was behind the death of Ami. Because if he was, that was the last thing he needed before he left Konoha. He could not leave without learning that. However, Naruto was interrupted by Kiba, who was telling him that he was called by the teachers and he should also stay away from Hinata. as Naruto decided to openly mock him, causing Kiba to attack as they went into a little battle, as Naruto put Kiba in his place. But they were stopped by one of the proctors of the exam telling them that there was no fighting here. With that, they were brought towards a hall where Mifune spoke to all of them about the upcoming exams and what it meant. Despite the rivalry between all nations, this was a sign that all of them could work and coexist in one era without trying to actively kill each other. Yes, this exam was, well, different with several missions, different tests, but at least they were not at each other through to war. But this was also a healthy competition to show the strong quirk users amongst the nations, as there was several Konoha ninjas that had passed and made Konoha number 1 in the past. Naruto was curious about one person, and that was Itachi Uchiha. Many people spoke about him like he was some great prodigy, as Naruto wasn't sure what his quirk was. As for the other contestants, we also learn a bit about them as well. Gaara was the pride of joy of his father's eyes after all. He was a container of the One Tails, and not to mention, he was a proud user of a sand quirk. It seems untouchable and unstoppable. Temari. Quirk Asteroid, she could break down objects into small cubes and use and control them however which way possible. As for their other brother, Kankuro, Quirk Tape. He could mass produce tape that could attack and wrap his opponent and lock them away. As for the Hidden Stone, Kurosaki was there. Her Quirk Arrow, she could form arrow out of nothing, and the amount was almost endless. Close combat or far range, as her eyesight was fitting for it. Her teammate Akisaki, Quirk Rage. The angrier he got, the stronger he got. And the other member, Susubaki, Quirk Fire Breath, breathing flame like a dragon. As for the team from Kumo, Samui, Quirk Flower Hair. Her hair was able to transform into all kinds of vines and flowers to trap or attack her opponent. Amoy Quirk was Liquefy. He was able to liquefy any part of his body. As for Karu, her quirk was Sugar Rush, as when she consumes sugar, her body break it down and turn it into energy. So with that, they were told that the exam will begin tomorrow. For now, they were given resting lodge. The place was small, only a bed and a small table there, but they didn't need much. Only thing they had to do was rest. The next morning, as Naruto woke up, Hinata decided to mess with him once again. Seeing Kiba looking at them, Naruto decided to mess with her, as Kiba was getting angry. Hinata decided to disengage and Kurenai came over. After all, she was supposed to be the good girl. So with that, they were teamed up. Their goal of this test was not to fall off the edges, that is, as the place was gigantic and large. There was also a gigantic fog that stopped Menma and Mito from using their quirk. Just teleport over there. They did not have to protect their teammates. If their teammates fall off, they can still continue. However, Mifune had said a cryptic word that he was highly advising them to help their teammates after all. Well, he did not continue after that, as Naruto was not going to be getting along with these guys in the slightest. As the mission started, Hinata quickly used her water quirk to bring her and her team over there. As they made their way running, they ran into several opponents as Naruto, Menma, or Sasuke took them down. Mito and Menma quirk had not reached the fully max, as they could not just subdue anyone like how Kushina used to do. As for Naruto, he was captured. All of them were, but the other two were able to teleport out and grab Sasuke, while Naruto was stuck into some kind of gelatin substance, as a guy could turn his body into literal jelly. As Sasuke told them to leave him, Menma as well, they were never going to get along, so if they leave him now, it wouldn't really affect them in the slightest. So with that, Naruto ended up freezing the guy before kicking him off, as he simply walked past him, not even paying them a single glance. As they finally arrived to the edge, arriving, they passed through as several other teams passed through. Misaka looked over towards Naruto as she growled at him with a glare, remembering their nasty encounter. As Naruto did not pay her any mind though, as he was ready for the other tests. So yeah guys, basically let's left off. You guys can switch across the place, check it yourself, and don't forget to go ahead and check out the other channels. Links will be down in the description, so yeah, check them out and enjoy. So without further ado, what is, so we jump right into this new episode. Begin now guys. Because of certain quirk users and certain new technologies being built to test quirk and also change the world, the Elemental Nation had become quite advanced over the past couple of years. One main reason of this, at the moment, all of the participants that made it through the first test was now standing to complete the second test. The area that they were in was a luscious green, wonderful forest. Considering that Land of Iron was literally a snow mountain peak, it was surprised to see a luscious forest like this here. However, they were inside of a gigantic dome. It was massive. It was aligned with seals that made it translucent to make it show like it was a sky. They could change the temperature, weather, and everything. That was how far everything had come along, as there was also several different technological features mixed into it as well. As Mifune glanced down towards the participants, those that took heed to my words in the last round and made sure to keep their teammates standing by their side, this is where you will truly prevail. Those with only themselves, while the rest of their teammates had been knocked off, had a confused look on their face as they start to question what the hell does that mean. Quiet, said Mifune. In the last test you were told that you could go without your teammates. Most of you use this opportunity to show yourself off, not showing any camaraderie, and leaving your teammates to fend for themselves and get knocked off. This will be where you will see how your efforts shall play out. This second test consists of a hunting and gathering. Out of all the teams that participate, there are 30 teams remaining right now. In the forest, there are currently 15 flags located. Your goal is to retrieve a flag and then make it towards a tower at the far end of the forest. All of them tried to see what he was talking about, but they could not, because there was fog. Despite them being on the inside, fog was blocking their view. That is when a camera screen came down, a large one, as it depicts the giant tower over behind the fog. It's your job to make it through. You have to find your flag and make it through. This will be where your team truly benefit from one another. But despite the odds, half of you will be disqualified. You have 3 days to complete this part of the test. Where exactly are the flags? One of them asks. That is up to you to find. They are hidden in the forest. Not so much that you won't be able to find them, but enough so that they will not be easily accessible to you. It's your job to protect your flag until you make it towards the tower. If your flag is taken and time is up, you will be disqualified. You were warned about protecting your comrades in the first stage of the test. So those of you that did not heed my warning, well, this is all on you, he said. Several people gulped as they were by themselves. Glancing, they saw all of the teams turn towards them, knowing that it will be easy picking for them to gang up on them. This is a survival test where you never know where the next attack will be coming from. In this portion of the test, death is legalized. You have already signed the waivers, so from here on out your life is in your hands, and those of you with comrades, your life is in their hands as well. Alright? He raised his hand. Begin! A boom went off as all of the teams sprinted through the door that they were given. Strangely enough, these doors led to different areas in the forest. That was how big it was, despite the number of Jennings in this part of the test. Once they made their way through the door, they had to go through a small cave of sorts. Once they stepped out of the exit of the cave, they arrived towards a section of the forest where no other team was. Everyone was in a secluded place. They had to run into another team. Hinata stepped out as she glanced towards the heavens, as she saw the fog rolling in. As she turned towards her teammates, "Well, boys," she said, a smirk on her face, "how lucky the both of you are that I was born in the Hyuga clan." "Well, I guess we're pretty lucky, huh?" said Kiba. However, Shino said nothing. Hinata stepped forward as she trailed a finger across Kiba's face. "Oh, don't you worry. I'll find us a flag as soon as possible." As she looked around, the veins on the side of her eyes becoming prominent, Shino did not say anything as Hinata pretended to be like she was a good girl in front of almost every adult. However, that was not her in the slightest. She had Kiba wrapped up around her finger so tight, if she squeezed he might pop. She kept on messing with his feelings, acting like she was interested in him. However, Shino saw what it truly was, though. She used him as a play toy, like a chew toy that she can just chew and spit out whenever she wants. And he didn't seem to notice in the slightest, or if he did not care. He was the one that was going to get hurt in the long run, because Shino could see that she did not care for him in the slightest. Other than being teammates, she would never be with him in that way. As Shino had told him this already, but he was told to mind his business, despite him being helpful. So from then on he had said nothing. Meanwhile, that was going on with Mikasa. She was currently sitting down as her two teammates were watching her back. Papers had floated off her body and spread through the forest. Mikasa quirk was definitely a powerful one. She could produce her limbs and body parts through her papers despite how far they might be. She had a range, but it was extremely far. Not to mention her papers were sensitive to anything around her. Animals, threats. She could feel it wherever it was. It was like a profound sensory ability. Yes, her quirk was quite unique and special, and also very dangerous as well, as she could keep her paper on someone without them noticing and then simply plunge a kunai right through the person's back, killing them on the spot. Her teammates watched her as she sat down as she closed her eyes, because she was scanning through the paper. Meanwhile, that was going on with the team from Kumo, with Amoy, as he walked towards the river that he found. Amoy looked towards the others as they nodded their heads. He held his hand out as his clothing simply went limp, as he flew out of his clothing, liquefying his body. He quickly merged with the water as he decided to search it. It wasn't long after that he burst outside, holding a flag in his hand. "Told ya," said Karu. This would be a place they would hide it. Amoy simply merged into his clothing, his liquefying form forming into it as he got back up. That is when Samoi's hair spread, as it pointed outwards. She turned her head as a group from the hidden rain arrived. "We're gonna need you to hand over that scroll." Wanting someone else to do your dirty work. Pretty uncool, she said, as the three members leaped towards them. With the team from the hidden stone, Kurosaki was standing mid-air. She was able to create her arrows and stand on top of them, and then she proceeded to use them to move in mid-air. As she spotted something she knew she did, moving towards a tree. As she finally found that she wrenched the thing out, her eyesight was pretty good. "See, I told you," she said. "Well, I guess you were right," the other two said. Meanwhile, with the team from Kiri, there were three boys, as they were currently being attacked by another group from the hidden grass. However, one boy with light blue hair, dark eyes with glasses stepped forward. As he looked at them, all the members stood there strangely, before they started to tremble and scream. They all then turned and ran for the hills, a look of fear etched on their face. Turning to his left, his teammate spoke. "Alright, Kojiro, let's move." Kojiro nodded as he deactivated his quirk and moved off. With the team from the sand, a sand particle was being seen, spreading through the sky, as it was moving, twisting and turning until it came across something. The sand then slowly lowered itself to the ground, before it started to move through the dirt. The three members that just found their flag was currently celebrating, until their body was encompassed by Gaara, as he wrapped them around, suffocating them until they fell unconscious. His body then formed back together, his clothing forming over him. It was special for his quirk. As his two teammates, his brother and sister, arrived. Well, that was easy. Now for Team Konoha. As Naruto was currently glancing up towards a guy, the man had hair all over his body. He had turned gigantic, standing around 10 feet tall. He was from the hidden grass. His quirk, ape, able to transform into an ape, the characteristics and also the added strength that came with it. As the tail behind him swayed lazily, he looked down towards Naruto and the others with hardened eyes. When Sasuke leaped forward, "Take this!" A massive explosion was released by the Uchiha, as the head of the beast was encompassed in the explosion, leaving smoke. That is when Sasuke smirked. All big and all, but he's not strong enough. He was the only one that was here from his team because the rest of the members had fallen off in the first round and he did not care. His quirk was quite powerful and destructive. That was until he started to laugh, confusing Sasuke. "What the hell? I got him right in the face." Well, that was pathetic, as his face came out of the smoke. There was just a few scratches. My turn, as he leaped. Sasuke had to jump away as he cracked the earth. Menma appeared behind him as he dropped a knee into his neck. However, he simply laughed as he reached to grab Menma, but Menma vanished and appeared and sliced his calf. He roared out and stomped on the ground. Menma appeared once again and sliced him in the back. His skin was tough but not that tough, as Menma was slicing him and gutting him with a kunai. As Mito helped out her brother as her chains came out and wrapped around the baboon. As she started to pull him down, he started to throw himself around, trying to escape as he saw Naruto simply standing there. Seeing Naruto standing there, he raised his hand and brought it down to kill Naruto. Menma saw what was about to happen. As he stopped attacking because Menma wanted Naruto gone. Menma did not care for Naruto as a brother. He never did. He was a weak, quirkless loser that he always despised and hated because he was weak and he brought shame to the family. However, since Naruto got a quirk, Minato has been speaking and talking to him a lot more. And now Menma was the brother that was not getting enough attention. Jealousy turned to rage and rage turned to hate. He wanted Naruto gone, dead. It doesn't matter what he can do, and not to mention, with a quirk of his, Menma feared the prospect of Naruto stealing his quirk. Yes, he would never say it out loud, but he feared it. All of them did, including Mito as well. As she saw what was about to happen as well, despite her chains. She could have moved him, she could have tried to yank it more. As she looked towards Menma, who had teleported back to the side, not doing anything. Sasuke leaped forward though. It wasn't that he gave a damn about Naruto, he was pissed off that this thing was able to completely brush him off like he was nothing as he started to charge a more powerful explosion. But before he could though, the guy's body was ripped apart. Giant ice spikes ripped into his flesh, tearing through his chest, bursting through his head. As Menma had to flash a distance away so he wouldn't get caught up, Sasuke was blown back as he crashed on the ground. However, he picked himself up quickly. The guy started to shrunk back down to proper size as Naruto walked over towards him. Surprisingly, he was still alive despite one of them going through his head. Now that was surprising. It seems his body was really strong. Naruto held his hand out. As an ice spike formed in his hand, he put it right towards his temple before he plunged it softly right into his skull. Mito could only stand there and watch a gruesome scene as her brother plunged the ice spike like it was nothing into the guy's skull. There was no humor, no sadness, no happiness, nothing on his face. It was just blank and emotionless. When Naruto turned towards her, she felt a shiver went down her spine, but she tried not to look afraid. But she was deadly afraid. As Naruto looked down towards the body that stopped moving, he then turned towards the others. "You almost got me," said Menma. "Watch what you're doing next time." "Maybe don't be so slow," said Naruto. "Hey, he's not the only one," Sasuke said. Up to this point, Sasuke did not know about Naruto being able to steal quirks. Sasuke believed that Naruto could copy people's quirks. He did not know the limit, however. He figured there was a limit. But he figured that Naruto was doing something in order to keep the quirks going. But he never questioned it because Naruto was a quirkless loser despite having a quirk. In his mind, he did not have to waste time on a loser. Sasuke was aiming to be one of the greatest Uchihas to ever exist, surpassing his brother and surpassing everyone else. Surpassing even the man that was said to be the strongest Uchiha, Mother Uchiha. Hashirama had a quirk of life. A quirk that brought life and happiness. Despite it being very dangerous, it was nature, beautiful, powerful nature. However, Mother quirk was fire. Flames that were said to burn as hot as the sun itself. Flames that could extinguish anything around. Flames that were unkillable, flames that raged through the nights. His fire quirk was said to be the most deadliest to ever graze this earth. However, he failed to take down the first Hokage in their battle. Despite his powerful quirk, Naruto ignored all of them as he just kept on walking. As he didn't have time for this, all he wanted was just to find the flag. As Naruto kept on moving, the others moving behind him as they kept their distance. They didn't want anything to do with him. Mito was just afraid. Sasuke hated his guts, and Menma wanted him dead. So they weren't not really hanging out like friends or anything. As they kept on moving, the distance between them was quite large. Large enough for someone to block them from seeing each other. Suddenly, concrete formed right in front of the three, blocking the path. A giant concrete wall. As Naruto turned behind him when he saw a cinder block rushing towards him. Naruto was not sure which village he was from, but his body was made like a cinder block. Naruto jumped back as his fist connected with the earth. As Naruto noticed all the grass and the plants, they were quickly turned into a solidified form, as the texture from his body seemed to merge with them. When he made contact and then he stepped and they cracked to pieces. As he looked up towards Naruto, "There's no point of running. I'm eliminating all the threats, so there will be more flags so I can get one. I'm the last one left of my team, so I'm gonna kill as much of you guys as possible. Now stay where you are." As Naruto stood where he was, the guy smirked as he rushed forward, his giant body moving a bit slower than anyone else. As Naruto saw that his body was immensely tough. Looking over him, Naruto checked for weak points. His training was consist on that, always check for a weak point first, as Naruto's eyes roamed over everything as he saw, at the crook of his neck. It looked different from the other part of his body. Under his arm, as he moved, the back of his knee. As Naruto watched all the weak points in his body before, he pulled out a kunai and then blinked. Naruto returned back to where he was. The cement guy collapsed down to one knee. As he coughed up blood, "What did you do to me?" he said. Naruto had used the yo-yo quirk and bounced right towards him and bounced right back. He was far too slow to react. He was immensely slow already. In just running towards him, Naruto would have cleared this distance in seconds, and yet he was taking at least all up to a minute to reach him. His body was durable and powerful, but he was extremely slow. As Naruto watched him as he gripped his throat, Naruto had sliced right into that small little gap. He had also cut the tendons in the back of his legs and sliced under his arm as well. Naruto knew that the quirk of his was powerful, but for a normal quirk user that was able to see, he would be able to see Naruto react or move in certain ways. However, this guy was just too slow. Walking towards him, the guy slammed his hand down as Naruto watched, as cement shot up right into his face. Naruto's leg twisted on the ground as ice came up and blocked it. "What the hell? That's your quirk? Ice? Then what did you do to me?" he said. "That couldn't just be speed alone. No one's that fast. Who are you?" he said. Naruto held out his hand. The nails on his arms grew long and tall like steel blades. Naruto leaped forward and ripped into him, slicing and gutting and tearing until he reached down into more fleshier parts as Naruto ripped until blood started to spray. Once Naruto was done, the guy was left a bloody mess on the ground, battered and beaten. Consider this me giving you mercy. It's just I don't want to waste my time or my energy trying to cut at that skin again. However, if you are able to survive this, I commend you," said Naruto as he started to walk. Moving back towards the wall, that is when something happened. Before Naruto could try and destroy the wall, a colossal explosion went off. The others behind the wall who were about to move to the other side felt it, the tremors, and then boom! Everyone was thrown. Mito was launched, Menma was launched, Sasuke was blasted away. Everyone was thrown away. A violent, colossal explosion went through the area. Something quite devastating, like a nuclear bomb. When Naruto came to, he was lying in a broken forest. As Naruto could feel that several bones had been broken inside of his body. Shit, he thought as he lay there. However, the bones start to be mended back together slowly. Naruto Ice Quirk had a few special abilities that was with it. As Naruto's body was able to freeze over any injury. Even if he was cut, stabbed, or any part of his body was torn, the blood would not leak out, as the wound would be frozen over. Same like for the inside, the bones were being frozen over until his natural healing ability would kick in from the Uzumaki side of his family. But it was enough for him to get up as Naruto spat. Blood came from his mouth. As he wondered what the hell was that, the explosion was massive. Looking forward, Naruto saw a massive trench that he was thrown in. As Naruto looked towards his back, his shirt was badly torn. Lucky he was not bleeding because of the ice freezing over before his blood could actually leak out. As Naruto started to walk, rubbing his head, dusting out his head, shaking his body, as he wondered what was that. As he was walking, Naruto felt something strange, like he was being watched. Flashback to earlier. As Naruto and his team was facing off against a guy that turned into a gorilla. Someone was watching them from the shadows. Someone that should not be here. Someone that was here to do research on all the newly developed quirks in the world. But it wasn't just then. Flashback to earlier. As the Konoha team had went through the first obstacle of the test. A grass ninja was watching them carefully. He had passed with only one of his teammates. As he was watching all of the Konoha teams, but his eyes was focused on Naruto because he saw something that intrigued him. Naruto released ice upon the guy that turned his body into jelly, and then he used those whip from his back. The guy was intrigued, greatly so. Not to mention, a minute ago Naruto was able to move at super speed and slash the cement guy up. And, well, the person was watching all of this. This person has been watching several participants until their eyes fell on none other than Naruto. Back to the present time. Naruto felt something as he spun around. That is when he heard something, a hissing sound as he looked down to see a snake. Naruto kneeled down. As he held his hand out, one thing that Naruto did not make public about himself was that he kind of liked reptiles. Yes, snakes, lizard. He didn't know why he liked them. As Naruto watched the snake crawl up his arm, as he looked into the eyes, yes, the eyes was what he found intriguing. There was just this look in their eyes that he didn't understand, but he wanted to. Well, seems like someone found a pet. Naruto spun as he slashed behind him with the claws, but he missed. Naruto was confused as he was sure that the person had whispered directly into his ears. "Who are you? Where are you?" said Naruto. "I'm right here." Naruto spun around, but nothing was there. As Naruto then realized it must be a quirk. They were projecting their voice somehow. "Hi there." This time Naruto glanced up to see a woman. She was sitting on the branch. Long dark hair. However, her eyes, she had slitted, strange slitted, reptilian eyes. As she landed, there was no sound as she landed. "So, you have a fascination in snakes, don't you?" Naruto instantly skipped right towards her, using his yo-yo quirk and appearing in front of her as he slashed at her throat. But to his shock, she grabbed his wrist with ease. She looked him right in the eyes. "I'm afraid you're gonna have to be a lot faster." She then poked him on the forehead. Naruto felt a force rack through his body as he was blown away. Crashing on the ground, Naruto got up as he felt a feet pressing on his back. Now that wasn't nice. Here I was just talking and you tried to slit my throat. That was not very gentlemanlike. Instantly, Naruto's tentacles came from his back and tear through the woman's stomach. Thinking that he had her, Naruto plunged another one through her chest and grabbed both of her arms as he lifted her in mid-air. However, to his shock, she started to laugh, looking amused at him despite him literally gutting her. That is when Naruto saw her body fade away. No, that's not possible. He felt her leg on top of him. "Hi there." Naruto jumped as no one was there. There's no need to be so jumpy. As Naruto held the kunai in his hand, looking around. That is when he tossed the kunai towards the left. However, Naruto used his telekinesis and launched it back towards her face. She simply deflected with her bare hand, like it was nothing. "Ah, I was correct. It's not just a fluke. You are the special child, aren't you?" As Naruto narrowed his eyes, the one from Konoha that can steal other quirks. Naruto's eyes widened. That was not revealed yet. Who the hell was this individual? How did they know that? As Naruto narrowed his gaze. "Oh, don't frown. It will give you wrinkles." "Who the hell are you?" said Naruto. "Finally, let's have a proper conversation, shall we?" As I was about to say, I've been an admirer of yours for a few hours now, and I must say, I like what I saw. "And I'm gonna take it," she said. Before Naruto could say a single word, she appeared behind him. However, Naruto twists his feet to the ground as ice jetted out. But to his surprise, the ice curved around her and stabbed into the tree. Confused by that, as she backhanded him as Naruto flipped, he landed on the ground. She appeared behind him and drive her hand down, right down toward his skull. However, Naruto's head got frozen over as she hit solid ice. That is when Naruto sliced at her stomach, but she pulled it back, twisting like some kind of rubber. He lashed his hand out as the claws tried to tear in her face, but she tilted her head away. She then turned and grabbed him by the neck. However, Naruto turned and pulled himself, causing the both of them to be pulled downwards. Immediately, an ice spear formed in his hand as he drove it towards her chest. But before he could though, she opened her mouth as her tongue came out and wrapped around his wrists, and then twirled him as she released him into a tree. Naruto flipped and landed on said tree before he shoot off, tentacles coming from his back as they struck where she was, tearing and ripping apart the area. Naruto landed and slammed his hand down before he froze everything around him. Naruto looked around as he panted, trying to find where she had gone. That is when a hard pain slammed into his back. Naruto cried out as he staggered forward as he turned, her fist buried in his guts. Blood came from his mouth as she grabbed him by the face and slammed the knee right into his face, completely shattering his nose as Naruto was being knocked around. Rage started to boil inside of him. This person was going to kill him, but he could not die. He couldn't afford to die. He can't, he roared out in his mind. However, she gripped his face before he could make a move. And now you're all mine, she said. She stared into his eyes as their forehead touched. Naruto felt something off. His hands wasn't able to move as he tried to move his legs, but he could not. He tried to activate his quirk, but he could not. As Naruto felt something being drained out of him, the woman was smiling until something strange happened. Something that she wasn't expecting in the slightest. Instead of her getting what she wanted, black lines started to travel across her face from Naruto's. She tried to pull away, but it was too quick for her to deactivate what she was doing. As she started to pull back until several black tentacles ripped something away from her, she dropped to the ground, backing away from Naruto, who dropped to the ground as well. She looked over towards him. How? That's not possible, she said. Naruto coughed up blood and spit as he looked up towards the woman before he slammed his hand down into the ground. The ice came up like a gigantic mountain, shredding and destroying everything. This time she was truly pierced and ripped into. Her body was skewered on contact. But Naruto was not done yet. His tentacles shot forward and slammed into the ice. A powerful electric charge went off. The whole thing exploded. But he was not done as Naruto held his hand out. Using his telekinesis, Naruto ripped several trees from the ground. His control had gotten a lot better as Naruto blunted the ends and threw them. They stabbed down to where she was. Naruto proceeded to pant. However, to his shock, her body rose up out of all the chaos, torn and bloody and ripped. As Naruto couldn't understand, but her eyes were lifeless. Her mouth then started to stretch before something or someone else stepped out. It was then that Naruto realized he stood no chance. Thinking that this woman was nothing but a normal quirk user who was rather strong for him, he thought he had a chance. However, now he come to realize that he stood no chance because standing in front of him was none other than Orochimaru of the Sannin. Naruto knew all the Sannins, of course. There was Tsunade of the Sannin, the one with a magical kiss to heal all wounds. There was Jiraiya of the Sannin, who possessed a toad quirk. It might sound unimpressive, but it was very impressive. Jiraiya had a buttload of poisons that could deactivate or take anyone down rather quickly. Not to mention, the toad quirk gave him strange, abnormal strengths, flexibility, and extremely powerful than any other. Him, Tsunade, and Orochimaru were given the titles of Sannins. Orochimaru possessed a quirk that Naruto was not sure what it was. In fact, he never heard anyone mention it before. Some people said it had to do with snakes, but Naruto wasn't sure. Because he never actually met the vile, corrupted man. He had kidnapped people and kids, mothers, fathers, to further his goal of doing something. And now Naruto understands what was in front of him. Orochimaru looked toward his hands. You took some. How was that possible? Naruto was confused. What are you talking about? He said as he was planning his escape. I was trying to take your quirk. Take my quirk? As Naruto narrowed his eyes, oh, don't fret, boy. I do not possess a quirk that you do. To steal others' quirk and to make it genetically adapt to your body. That's quite advanced and wonderful. My method is a lot more difficult, however. Before I can do that, there are certain procedures, but you stopped it. You surely are something special, Naruto Namikaze. How do you know my name? Said Naruto. Well, I've been studying the three of you since you were very young, hoping that you would gain something that would be to my liking in the future. Come to find out that you were the one that was quirkless, and then all of a sudden you had a quirk. Konoha tried to hide it, but they couldn't hide much from me. I have eyes and ears everywhere. I cannot take your quirk. Yet, once I found out what you could do, it was like a dream come true. It would be a better solution for what I do. But I cannot take it. I do not know how, but I just cannot. If I try that again, you will end up taking more of mine. More? Said Naruto. You haven't noticed, have you? Orochimaru chuckled. Why don't you come and join me? He said. Are you crazy? You psychotic, disgusting snake, said Naruto. You just tried to kill me by taking my quirk, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, that's right, I did try to kill you. But why don't we skip over that? I'll never work for someone like you. Or really? I know that you're nuts. Looking for the well-being of Konoha. Naruto gaze narrowed at that. I mean, how could you? As I said, I've been watching you for a very long time. Well, you and your brother and sister. And I got reports on how they treated you. How you were treated like a worthless abomination because, well, one simple fact. You did not possess a quirk. Your life was hell. You were treated like you weren't a part of your own family. Constant bullying. There was no doubt that you seek nothing but hatred for them right now. After all, I can see it in your eyes. That cold, emotionless gaze. When you knew that you could not win, I saw it. You wanted to live, but not because you wanted to go back. There is something you want to do. You see, I'm quite adept at understanding people, and I understand you greatly. I heard that you recently lost 2 people. People that you care about. As Naruto wondered how the hell he knew this much. There was definitely a spy within Konoha. And here I thought your siblings was gonna prove something rather special for me. But it turns out that you're the one that is the special one. That is why I need your help. So how about joining me? Like I said, rot in hell, you snake. Orochimaru merely chuckled. What if I were to help you in your endeavor? Your body is a fast-acting one, able to consume quirks at an abnormal rate. However, there must be some sort of limits. What if I can help you surpass that limit and go beyond it? To fully utilize every quirk that you gain. To push and stretch every quirk you gain to their limits. So you can become a being of nothing but power, destruction and chaos like I see in your eyes. That caught Naruto's attention. He was also thinking about the future as well. You stupid fool, you think I'm an idiot. Why would someone like you, who want to be definitely better than me, seeing that you're about to steal my quirk, why would you ever help me achieve something like that? Oh, it's quite simple. Because while I'm helping you, you'll be helping me as well. We both get benefits out of this. As he walked forward, but Naruto got on his guard. You don't have to worry, Naruto-kun. There won't be any more fighting. I've seen all I have to saw. I was expecting that your siblings will be my goal for this forest, but I was wrong. You are all that I desire. With your help, willingly of course. Because I'm afraid that I can't do it without you actively being a supporter. What do you mean? Said Naruto. Orochimaru looked towards him before he shot forward. As Naruto was still exhausted, the Sannin gripped him by the throat as he lifted Naruto off the ground. I was just kidding. I'll be taking your quirk now. As he said that, Naruto started to fight as black markings spread from his arms. Orochimaru jumped away. See? My experiment worked. Naruto gripped his throat as he was coughing. What experiment, you sick freak? Look. As Naruto saw the markings that usually connect to people's body, that connect to their genetic system and gave him their quirk, that activate on its own. While I can lock you in a special facility, chain you up, chakra and quirk suppressing seals all over your body. I have this special quirk that allow me to examine a person's body. It's a good thing you did not steal that one, and I can see it inside of you. If I were to restrain your quirk, there will be some negative side effects of that. For me, Orochimaru said. I can see it now, he said, as Naruto wondered what the hell he was talking about. As he seemed high, there was a smile in his face as he was loving what he was talking about. I've never seen something so fascinating. Your body is truly a work of art. My eyes are up here, you freak. Orochimaru chuckled. No need to be so mean, Naruto-kun, he said. I'm just examining something that was a gift from the gods themselves. It has to be. I've gathered enough information already. I'll be in contact with you soon. Why don't you think what I said over? You and me can achieve great things, Naruto-kun. Things that you cannot even dream of. Think of my parting gifts as what you intend to gain in the future. As Orochimaru vanished away. Once he was gone and Naruto could no longer sense him, he dropped to one knee. As Naruto's whole body was in pain. The beating that he had suffered, his eyes had quickly frozen over everything, but when they had touched, Naruto's quirk had went crazy, and the ice had melted as he felt the pain. As Naruto opened his mouth, his blood flew out like a river. He dropped to his side as he was near wheezing on the ground. As he could feel his body slowly recuperating, but not fast enough, as Naruto could barely breathe. He tried to get his quirk to stabilize his body. However, it was almost like he had taken in another quirk, because whenever he do, there was a few minutes of his quirk not being stabilized yet. But this was more than a few minutes. Wait, gift. Did he somehow take Orochimaru's quirk? But how much quirk did he have? And how was he able to steal other people's quirk as well? As Naruto had saw him exit from his own body, that guy was a true freak. Now he understand. It seems like he had taken quirks from the man, that he had no idea what they were. However, he took more than one, and now his body was in shambles on the inside. The quirk were trying to formulate themselves with him and adapt to his genetics. And now that was making him go through a lot. Well, well, well. What do we have here? As Naruto glanced up to see a girl. Red hair, amber eyes. As she looked down towards him with a smirk. If it isn't that Konoha jackass, she said. Masaka looked down towards him. She and her team was heading towards the tower when they came across this sight. You two, she said. Make sure no one interfere. He's all mine. As the both of them went to be lookout. As Naruto looked up towards her. If you know what's best for you, you better leave. She started to laugh before she kicked him across the face. As Naruto was spread eagle on his back. If I know what's good for me. You pissed me off and I want to get revenge for what you said to me. And you were the one that bumped into me, and yet you act all high and mighty. You Konoha ninjas disgust me, she said, believing that you're above everyone else just because you're a main village. Well, it's time I put you people in your place. And show that the Hinrin's strength is just as great as anyone else. As Naruto started to laugh. Spitting some blood from his mouth. So that's what this is about, huh? The Hinrin, you want to prove that you're superior to Konoha. As much as I hate that bitch of a village. She narrowed her eyes. He made it sound like he hated Konoha. The hidden rain is still not strong enough. Wait, that's what he meant. But why would he hate his own village? As she wondered what he was talking about. Konoha is still stronger than the hidden rain. She wanted to burst into the bubble and told him that. He had no idea what people like her father or mother was capable of, or what she was capable of, but she could not reveal those things. As she held her hand out as a paper formed into a dagger, the thing looked like it was solid enough to cut through flesh, despite it just being paper a moment ago. She threw it as it embedded into his arm, as Naruto winced out in pain. You won't be the first or the last. I'm going after all the 5 nations. As Mikasa raised her hands and the dagger came out, she still had full control over it. That is when Naruto felt it. A tentacle shot from his back and grabbed the handle, before driving the dagger right towards her throat. She was able to disperse it just in time back into harmless paper, but the tentacle grabbed her by the throat before it threw her. Naruto still didn't have proper control as the tentacle wavered. The other two came rushing in, as Naruto slammed both hands on the ground, as he had to exert physical effort far beyond whatever he exerted before. As ice exploded outwards, blasting the two of them away. They crashed on the ground, the one to the left bumping her head, knocking herself out. The other one, though, she got back up. As her arms started to disattach, her body started to break apart. As she started to move in towards Naruto. However, before she could reach him though, Naruto quickly moved with his yo-yo and appeared right towards her face. His fist slammed into her temple with tremendous force before he backhanded her. Her body was like a string attached with invisible wires as he was throwing her pieces, reattaching before she slammed on the ground. As Naruto swayed on his feet, that is when a paper appeared in front of him, one behind him as he was kicked in the face. He was then punched in the stomach. His throat was then grabbed before he was slammed repeatedly into the gut several times, as an elbow cracked his nose as he staggered back. Several paper bullets quickly formed and slammed into his chest, as they were immensely painful as Naruto dropped to the ground. That's for what you did to my teammates, asshole, she said, as Mikasa came back. She held her hand up as the paper formed. It twists and turned into a giant mallet, before she held it up above his head. As Naruto started to get up as he looked up towards the giant thing. As he was not fast enough to get out of the way, he would have to go right through it. However, she did not drive the hammer down, she just looked at him strangely. As she looked at the ice, then towards his back, her eyes widened as she remembered what her father said. It's you. As Naruto looked towards her confused. However, she was not focusing. Naruto breezed straight towards her. This time just running by himself as he pushed with all of his might to go at least close to his full speed. She was ill prepared for what was going to happen next as her mind realized that she almost failed because she wasn't thinking. Her father sent her to, she was cut off as Naruto grabbed her throat, picking her off the ground in one hand as he slammed her. She winced out in pain as her bat made contact with the ground. Bam! Naruto fist struck her across her face. Another. As blood started to leak from her nose and mouth. Quickly a dagger formed in her hand as she stabbed it into his side. Naruto winced out as he rolled off of her. She got back up sloppily as she held her hand out and slashed down. Several papers slashed across his chest. Despite what her father said, she could not just let him kill her. However, Naruto seemed to bear through the pain as he moved forward, leaping towards as he threw his fist out. However, his fist was caught by a paper wall that surrounded his body. But before it could, though, tentacles shot out, the electricity burning them. Naruto slammed his forehead into hers. She staggered back as he grabbed her left arm and pulled her. He then kneed her in the guts before he backhanded her into a tree. As Naruto moved forward, before he quickly formed two ice spears behind him before throwing them. She quickly got up and jumped away, As she landed, Naruto was upon her once again as they traded blows. Their fists smashed into each other's face. As the both of them staggered back, she quickly created a paper sword and slashed him. She slashed him again, carving an X into his chest. She then brought it up and slashed him. It also slashed right across his face. As Naruto staggered back, his body was a mess. It was a surprise that he could still stand. The only reason why he was on his feet was determination. To not give up, to not fail. And he was not gonna allow her to kill him. As Naruto's nails extended, the ice and the tentacles vanished, but his nails came out as was a quirk, like the swords, as Naruto sliced right through her paper. She was caught off guard as he was so close. She cried out as Naruto slashed across her arm. Blood sprayed. As Naruto kicked her in the chest, throwing her back as she crashed on the ground. The both of them were a mess, as they panted and looked at one another. However, Naruto got back up. As he rushed forward, she was shocked. How could he still stand while he was in this state? He was already weakened, and yet she watched as he came towards her. She quickly sent out her paper. However, he jumped over her. That is when he flashed through hand signs. So focused on her quirk, she forgot that they were still ninjas. Fire rained down on her as her paper was burned. She rolled on the ground as she quickly got to her feet. That is when Naruto appeared behind her. Oh no, she thought she was gonna die. She couldn't allow this to happen. Boom! Something slammed into Naruto with tremendous force. A strange force that threw him. Naruto slammed through a tree and then through another one before he slammed into a boulder. Naruto lied here a mess. His mind trying to understand what just happened. It felt like a gravity had slammed into him. Some sort of gravitational force. Could she have more than one quirk? Looking towards her, Naruto saw she had 4 arms. What the hell? As Naruto saw 2 of the arms turning into strange mechanical weapons. She seemed to have a hard time controlling herself. As she quickly closed her eyes as the arms returned back inside of her. Before she panted and dropped to one knee. Their eyes met as Naruto looked at her, she looked at him. The both of them neither saying a word. Before she gripped her head, as a strange mental wave was sent out. It slammed Naruto as Naruto gripped his skull and screamed. She also screamed as well. Whatever she did, she seemed to not be able to fully control her powers. However, the quirk that she used was able to go directly into Naruto's mind. And she saw it. She saw everything. Every single ounce of his pain, his agony. Everything that he went through. How broken he truly was. However, for Naruto, he was feeling emotions. All she wanted was just to make her village proud, her mother and father, protect her friends. All she wanted was to keep everyone around her safe. And she would kill who she asked to make sure that her loved ones are protected. He could also feel her power. She had so much power locked away inside of her. She had multiple quirks, just like him. And they were extremely powerful. Both of them were panting on the ground as they looked at each other. What the hell was that? Said Naruto, speaking to her. She glanced up towards him, still holding on to her head, as she got all the memories while he felt the emotion. She did not do it right. Not that she had much control over these quirks. They were immensely powerful, all of them. As Naruto slowly got up to his feet, she got up to hers as well, the both of them looking at each other. However, her eyes seemed different as she looked at him, with pity. As Naruto saw flashes in his mind, like she had seen, he snapped his gaze up towards her. You invaded my mind, he said. Anger, rage across his face. No, it was an accident, she said to him. I didn't mean to do it. You bitch, said Naruto. Who gives you the right to enter someone else's mind? If you want to kill me, fight me fair. None of my memories, they did not belong to you. As Naruto held his hand out, however, he dropped to his knees. His body had still not recovered as he coughed up more blood. Stop it, she said. You're gonna die if you continue what you're gonna do. Why should you care? After all, I'm trying to kill you. Are you that much of a sympathetic fool? You think emotions are gonna get you anywhere? Her teammates had woken up as the both of them arrived by her side. Bastard, I'm gonna make you pay for what you did. The one left spoke up. The one on the right agreed, without hesitation. As Naruto was on one knee, whatever happened to him with Orochimaru, it messed him up so badly that, despite him fighting, he was in agonizing pain. Mikasa could feel it. She felt everything. She saw it. The amount of pain he was in was like his very bones were being broke and put back together, like his skin was on fire, and yet he was still fighting. How could one child have this amount of determination? It made no sense. No, stop. Her teammates looked at her like she was crazy. What are you talking about? This is our chance. He's a threat. Let's end him. No. You guys, I've never led you wrong before, have I? What's that got to do with anything? Just believe me. Leave him be. I don't want your pity, said Naruto as he got to his feet. You may be full with emotions, but I am not. Face me, let's finish this. If you continue to fight, you will bleed out and die. Dying before you achieve your dreams. Is that what you want? What would your friends think of you? Naruto slammed his fist into the ground. Don't you talk about them, he said. You have no right to invade my mind. And as I said before, it was an accident, but I saw it. You are a conflicted, twisted person who will do whatever it takes to survive and continue on. Throwing your life away like this, is that really what you want? If you leave me be, I'm gonna hunt you, said Naruto. And then I'm gonna find you and kill you. Well, come and find me, she said. Come on guys, let's go. But they looked towards Naruto. Let's go. As they start to walk off. As Mikasa, once she was out of eye view. Hey guys. Yeah? I need some help. As she fell, face first unconscious. Luckily they had caught her. Come on, we need to get her patched up. Whoa. He roughed her up really badly. I've never seen someone put her in this state before. Yeah, you're telling me. Come on, let's get out of the open. As they brought her to somewhere so they could patch her up. But despite that, she was already healing. After all, she was part Uzumaki. But that was not the only thing. But she had taken quite the beating. As for Naruto, Naruto was still on his feet. All of his insides were screaming at him to rest, but he could not afford to do so right now. Wiping the remaining blood away from his mouth, Naruto stood to his feet as he felt his body calming down. However, his insides was still not back to normal. Just what in the hell did he take from that snake Sanin? Naruto walked over toward a tree and sat down. Naruto sat there for a good 30 minutes when he heard footsteps. As he snapped his head to the side. Damn it, he thought to himself. But guys, we end episode right here. If you want the next person to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification as they posted. But I'm off for now. See you guys soon. Peace.